If you lost a dream job without warning overnight, would you take that opportunity to pursue a risky, crazy, off the wall lifetime dream? Or would you play it safe, even if it meant a job in a warehouse or delivering pizzas? In the first of this series, children's book author Jay Risner shared the utterly improbable story of how he came to write and illustrate a series that dads and grandpas love just as much as their children. Welcome to the channel, friends. I'm Liam, a retired history professor who loves books, book clubs, and history. When someone pulled the plug on web designer Jay Risner's career during midlife, he decided to turn his dream from daydreams into reality. He got off the couch, as he tells me in this interview, part one of three. He didn't want to do it, but he had to do it. Our guest didn't write or illustrate his first children's book till after he was 52, but once it started, he couldn't stop. He's now the author and illustrator of 19 and counting hilarious, heartfelt books about an unforgettable bull, a character who gets into everyday mischief from building swings to forgetting what he was supposed to do. And yes, lots of duct tape, coffee, and peanut butter sandwiches. His stories are funny, down to earth, and full of charm. He grew up in Independence, Kansas, just like Laura Ingalls Wilder. Spent decades as a web and graphic designer, and now he's inspiring a whole new generation of readers. But this is no Little House on the Prairie series. His series of children's books that dads love to read is called the What Were You Thinking, Mr. Cow series, starring the endearing and goofy Mr. Cow. I interviewed Jay because I love these books and I plan to use them in future men's book clubs. This is Terra Incognita, a men's book club discussing children's books. But if you follow this series, it will begin to make perfect sense. Okay, Jay, you didn't publish your first book until you were 52. Can you tell us the story of what finally got you to do it?
Okay. It's a long story because I was 52, not 22. And so the story isn't a 2-year progress story. It actually probably goes back in time over 30 years ago. So I'm going to jump around back and forth in time like one of those TV shows you watch, and then it'll say 5 years earlier.
Kind of the postmodern timeline.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back initially to April of 24. I was working part-time with a friend of mine, a former coworker at another job, as a web developer. I was doing website development work. My wife was involved in a prayer ministry, and one of the women in the ministry is named Jill. And Jill's like an idea factory, entrepreneurial. She's got all sorts of ideas. She probably needs a staff of people to get to just execute all of her ideas. And it came up in conversation that God put her to help people write and develop and publish kids' books. And Stacy, my wife, thought Jay's been toying around with this idea of this cow character off and on forever, but he's never been able to get it off the ground. And I'll show you this cow character. So now we're jumping back in time. This guy goes back. This guy goes back to the early 1990s. So shortly after college, I was working and then later managing a graphic design office on campus at Kansas State University. And outside of the office, there was a little information counter, and they had snacks, candy bars, brochures and maps, and a handful of plushes. And as I would walk by that office, I would see these stuffed animals. And this one, just the way it sat there, I don't know why, but it just made me chuckle. I thought it was funny. And I'd point up and just chuckle at it. And I did that probably for 2 or 3 years. And then I don't know how it happened, but when Stacy and I got married, they just gave it to us. Here, take this thing.
People were seeing you do this.
Yeah, it wasn't selling. I don't know why. They didn't sell it. I just think it's funny. But I think they gave it to me. And then off and on, over the years, I'd pull out a sketchbook and think it'd be funny to storyboard an idea, some kind of stupid adventure that this cow character has with other characters. And I do that off and on.
Yeah.
For 25 years. Fast forward to April of 24. So this is 25 years have gone by. And Stacy's talking to this other lady named Jill that she knows. And Jill's saying, oh, I help people write and develop and publish kids' books.
Oh.
And Stacy thought, oh, Jay's been talking about it'd be fun to be an author illustrator, but I didn't know how to do it. And I didn't have the fire in me to make it happen because I knew this is going to be a Herculean effort to pull this off. So we had a meeting. She introduced me to Jill. This is all online. I'm in Kansas and Jill's in Vegas. We have a meeting on Zoom, and it was a Tuesday night. And we had a conversation. I just sensed green lights all the way. And I said, okay, Jill, let's do this. I'll hire you. And she gave me instructions, marching orders. Okay, your first steps are to do these things, get your story idea going. We had a good discussion, and then get back to me within a week, and we'll keep the ball rolling.
Oh, great.
I think this was a Tuesday night. So I was excited. The very next day, the guy that I'd been working with, Dave, he's a programmer, great guy. Had known each other probably going back to like, I don't know, I want to say 2006, 7, somewhere around there when we started working. Great, hilarious guy. And I'd been working with him on, we had one client that we worked with, big job, big project. It was part-time. So he calls me the very day after I started working with Jill. He contacts me and says, stop working on the project. The client pulled the plug. It's over. I had no warning.
Wow.
Yeah. I freaked out. I panicked because I've had some manner of income since I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I had always been the sole provider. And then without any warning, in a day, boom, income's gone. So I freaked out and I panicked. I said, Lord, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And in that moment, I'm praying to God, and I'm always expecting some kind of comfort or reassurance or something like that. Like, I got you, buddy. I didn't get that. I'm freaking out and I'm praying. And what I heard him clearly say was, shut up. Quit crying. You have work to do, which was not what I was expecting. It felt like a 5-year-old kid throwing a tantrum. You go back a couple generations, you see a kid throwing a tantrum, and granddad comes up and tells him, knock it off. And the kid shapes up. That's what happened to me. And I knew he was referring to these books. So in less than 24 hours, it was like driving down the interstate at speed. Jesus is riding shotgun, and you're just chatting about, oh, there's a truck stop coming up, 15 miles. I want to go there because they got good coffee or something, which they don't. No, they don't have good coffee, but they have 0 candy bars and cherry mash.
Which is what you're trying to avoid.
Oh, I love a 0 candy bar.
I love cherry mash.
I know, that's why I mentioned
it. Twin Bings just a little bit better.
Oh,
Twin Bings. Okay, now, so
well,
all that makes sense.
We're talking, and all of a sudden,
off you go.
Yeah, we're all talking, and all of a sudden, you just like, yeah. And he grabs the wheel abruptly and says, take that exit right there. Whips it, no brakes, no slowing down, foot's on the gas. And we often hit an exit ramp that I didn't plan on. I don't know where this thing even goes. We're going 70. And I'm slamming on the brakes, and the wheel's going like this, trying not to crash. I'm freaking out. He's cool as a cucumber. Never panics. There's so many analogies. It's like Gandalf showing up to Bilbo. I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure. But in this case, it wasn't really an invitation. It was more like a directive.
Yeah, you can see. Yeah, that's that first chapter of The Hobbit.
Yeah.
And Gandalf had to emerge as a character later, but you think, well, Gandalf's really pushy, but we're glad he was.
And because this happened in my 50s, I see a parallel a little bit with the Hebrews. When they got out of slavery, God gave them an identity, a new identity in the wilderness. This is how you're going to organize your camps in relationship to the tabernacle. You're no longer Hebrew slaves. You are the nation of Israel. You have a new identity. Now, go check out the land that you will take possession of. And they chickened out. And he said, okay, you could have stepped into your identity, but instead you're going to be nomads. And a generation later, he tells Joshua, go take it. He doesn't say, hey, if you guys feel like you're ready and you want to go on an adventure, he said, go take it. Don't be a chicken. Be strong and courageous. That is who I made you to be. And that's what it felt like with me. I think getting out of high school, I wanted to pursue drawing and art and things like that. But I remember thinking, I'm not good enough. So I chose the path of graphic design, which led to web design. You start getting into coding and programming, that's a very slippery slope. And by the last several years of that career path, it was pretty much just pure programming. It was just all code. And I felt the artist in me dying under thousands of lines of code. God snatched me out of that. And that's how it felt. I gave you the aptitude to do that. I'm going to set you on the path where I want you to go, and it will be abrupt. Mm-hmm. Instead of a smooth 30-year line, you're going to go up a cliff to retrace what you should have done a quarter century ago. And here I am a year after that, working on drawings for book number 20 right now. I'll draft the whole story. They're brief, usually 24, 26, 28 pages. I'll go over it and get it short up as well as I possibly can. And then I connect with Jill and go through it with her. Do you remember back in the 1980s, these commercials for a company called BASF? We don't make products you buy, we make products you buy better. Yeah. That's what Jill is with these ideas. She doesn't come up with ideas for me per se, but she looks at them and she helps me improve upon them. Improve the flow, improve the pace, connect this book to something you did 5 books ago. Things like you're using the same word too frequently and you don't need to. So she helps me shape these things and polish up every single one that I do. And I don't dive into any of these books without getting her input. She'll toss out a whole bunch of suggestions. I might pick 2. The end result's better because of that.
So you need a little bit of humility to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Let somebody else give you input and then be willing to accept.
Yeah.
Especially somebody who knows what they're doing.
Humility is an interesting thing because I'm writing my own stuff. I'm illustrating my own stuff. And it's funny, I'm doing this with a lot of confidence and boldness. This is your lane, go in it. It's not based on competence. Because I know that there are tons of people out there that are much better at writing and much better at illustrating. So the confidence and boldness is not rooted in competence. It's rooted in obedience. As it is, it's my story.
If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to check out Jay's books. They're perfect for family story time and packed with humor that parents won't groan at. Links are in the description below. And hey, if there's a story you've been holding on to for years, maybe now is the time to bring it to life. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Until next time, look for part 2 in this series.